Hello, everyone, and welcome to Right Down Main Street. I'm your host, Bryce Waters, and I'm happy that you're tuning in to me today. This is a podcast dedicated to bring in a little Disney magic right to your daily routine. Put it on while you're at work, if you can, at home, doing whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to make a podcast. I am a Disney fanatic. I have been my entire life. I've been every year since I was 4 years old. My grandparents spoiled me right out the gate. I just wanted to make my first episode going over what I plan to go over in this show. What kind of episodes we're going to be looking at, what segments we're going to be doing. So without further ado, let's get into what I plan to go on with during the show. First off, I want to do some top 10s. I feel like that's a pretty given one related to Disney podcasts and Disney YouTube channels and stuff. Top 10s are always fun to do, and of course I always love hearing what everybody else's top 10 is. So I would love to hear what y'all's are, and don't give me flack for mine. Obviously it's my opinion, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so that's why I'm excited to hear some of y'all's. Next would be just talking about favorite attractions. I would love to do a segment dedicated to attractions that I have a love for, Haunted Mansion, Splash Mountain. But I have to say my favorite attraction, it changes every week, but right now I think Splash Mountain would be my favorite. Everything about that ride is just so cool. I love the music. We'll get into that in a different episode. I actually already recorded my second episode, so just be on the lookout for that. I did a top 10 with a very special guest. Next, I would like to talk about are the different lands of Disney World, and yes, I consider, some of Epcot to be lands. You have Future World and their which are actually now going to be neighborhoods, and I wouldn't say the countries in the World Showcase are lands, but I would like to do segments dedicated to the countries as well. But by lands, obviously, I mean, Frontierland, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, all that. I would love to do segments dedicated just to certain lands, because each land is so intricately themed, and it deserves to be talked about. It deserves to be praised, so... Next, I would like to do hidden secrets. I'd like to talk about some hidden secrets in Walt Disney World, whether it's hidden Mickeys that have yet to be found, which I'm sure all of them have, as well as just some cool little facts that I find online and maybe some stuff I can pull out of my brain. But yeah, there's a lot of hidden secrets in Disney World. Disney is so well themed and so detailed. The Imagineers put a thought in every little bit that goes into Disney World. So I know that they put hidden secrets, Easter eggs in all of their rides, and I would love to talk about those. Next, I would like to go over the underrated areas, places, and attractions. Areas and places are kind of the same thing. When I think of an area, though, I think of more of a broad topic, and places are more specific. And attractions. So I want to talk about the things that don't get enough love in the parks. I want to talk about maybe the attractions that I walk by and there's never really a line for. And, I always get on those attractions whenever I don't see a line for it, which is almost all the time, unless I just go at a certain time of year when there's never a line for them. But I think there are a lot of attractions that don't usually have lines that deserve a lot of praise. I think Carousel of Progress is one, if I'm just naming some off the top of my head. I always walk by whenever I go on it. I never have to wait more than one rotation, and I think that's an attraction. Yes, it is an older attraction. It's one of the starting attractions, but I think that ride really is something that needs to be talked about just because of how accurate everything has come to be. And we talk about this in the top 10 episode a little bit, but I just want to mention it here where it's crazy how Disney can get their predictions right. And in that last scene during Christmas, you have the grandma and the son playing with a VR set. I have a VR set in my apartment, and this ride was built, years ago. And I just think it's just crazy how accurate Disney has been with their technology predictions and all that. So, attractions that don't get enough love or never really have a line, that's what I want to talk about, because every attraction at Disney is special in its own way, and I think each one deserves to be talked about at least a little bit. Next, I would like to talk about resorts that I have been to. Now, this is kind of a dicey one. I've only been to 3 resorts, and I can explain. I'm one of those people that it's hard to get out of my comfort zone when trying new things, especially if it determines where I'm staying, like where I'm sleeping at night. It's hard for me once I find one that I love for me to break away from that. So I'm trying to branch out. My girlfriend and I are going to Disney later this year, and we're kind of between French Quarter and Animal Kingdom Lodge. Animal Kingdom Lodge will really only happen if we can rent DVC points for the week that we do plan on going. If not, we'll go to French Quarter. We stayed at Riverside, and we loved it. And I thought French Quarter looks really cool, so I would love to try that out. Riverside just was so pretty. I loved walking along the river, having the wheelhouse with the cafeteria. You know, I don't like calling it cafeteria at Disney World, but it is a cafeteria. Yeah, so the 3 resorts that I've stayed at that I can remember are the Polynesian. That's my favorite, so I do remember that. I go there all the time. Polynesian, Contemporary, and Port Orleans Riverside. And I would love to have a show dedicated to each of these resorts. I have been inside other resorts. My grandparents stay at Fort Wilderness Lodge a lot, so I might do a show on that. I've been there enough to really do a show on it. It's got some really cool elements to it. It's themed extremely well. But yeah, I would love to do a show on that. I would like to stay there too. So maybe that's in the cards for later, maybe next year. Here's another thing I would like to talk about, and it's food. Food at Disney World is unlike any other. You can find some of the best meals you would ever have in your life at Disney World. Whether it's something as simple as just a hot dog off of Casey's Corner. I would love to talk about all the different kinds of foods that I have, foods that I want to try. Don't even get me started on the Dole Whip, because oh my gosh. And I stay at the Polynesian, so I have full access to Dole Whip. But yeah, food I like, food I want to try. Maybe some foods that I didn't like that much. You know, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. This one's a little weird. Well, nothing's really weird at Disney, but transportation favorites. Obviously, you can't do too much because they don't have a lot of modes of transportation. A lot of various modes of transportation, I should say. Woo! But I would love to do a show talking about the monorail, because that is the staple of Disney, the Disney monorail. I love the monorail. I take it every chance I get, and the good thing is when I do stay at the Polynesian, I can take that monorail to Magic Kingdom, as well as going to the Ticket and Transportation Center and taking a monorail from there to Epcot. So the monorails are something that you really can only do at Disney World. I know some cities have it, around the world, but the ones at Disney World are unlike any other. They give you this certain feeling, the smell when you walk in, stuff like that. So I would love to do a show based on music. Obviously, that'd probably have to be a couple different shows because there's so much music to talk about at Disney World, like attraction music, park music, all of that. Disney and their music is something that is just so different from anything else. You can definitely, it's weird, you can tell when a song is a Disney song. By that I mean you can hear, an old song that I've never heard before at Main Street, but something about it has that Disney feel to it, even though it could just be a song that was recorded way back in the day and they thought it would be a good fit. There's something about it. They have a selection of music that just fits each land and each area so perfectly, each attraction so perfectly. And music is a huge thing for me. I play park music when I'm doing research, when I'm doing other stuff on my computer, even just playing video games or just hanging out. Park music is definitely something I turn on just because it gives you that little extra Disney magic in the background. So Next, I would like to talk about things that I miss. There are quite a few things at Disney World I miss. I'm not going to be able to talk about the older attractions from before I was going to Disney World, because obviously I wasn't there. But I would love to hear what everyone else misses. I've heard great things about Horizons. I wasn't there for that. I would love to see footage of it if any of y'all have any. There's some footage on YouTube. A lot of it is grainy. I know it's older, so a lot of footage is going to be grainy, but if any of you have any personal footage you'd like to share, I'd love to see it. But yeah, things I miss, feelings I miss. Over the years, there have been different feelings towards Disney and in certain places and areas of Disney. Some places that have, I will say, some places that have, not gone too great in my eyes. Every place at Disney is wonderful, but there are some that have gone, I don't want to say downhill, but a little downhill from what they used to be, I should say. Like I said, I just want to say this. I love every aspect of Disney World. Yeah, but there's parts of Disney that used to be just wondrous and now might not be just as. Another thing is something, that I want to touch on, but, not as much, because there are other podcasts that do more of this, which is telling, Walt Disney World news. And obviously, if it's big news, I'm going to talk about it, if they're adding a new land, stuff like that. But if it's just little things, I don't want to focus on the news too much, because like I said, there are other podcasts that focus on the news, the up-to-date news of Walt Disney World. I like to focus on just the magic and giving you that in-park feeling. I would like to just take your hand and come with me down Main Street, go into the parks, have fun, imagine yourself riding some of these rides, getting some vivid imagery. It sounds corny, but those are the things that just kind of make me happy sometimes. And when I'm at work, I play Disney podcasts, I play Disney music, and it just puts you in a different mindset from what you were before. Excuse me. That's really what I have planned so far for this show. Like I said, this is kind of just a basic overview of what I would like to do. And again, like I said earlier, this is a podcast where I'm not trying to focus too much on bringing the first bit of Disney news to y'all. There are other podcasts that do that. But I want to just have fun. I want to just sit down and talk about Disney with y'all, because that's really what I want to talk about all day, is just Disney World. It makes me so happy to think about, and I would love if you guys could tune in and, go down these memories or, thoughts with me. So, just real quick, I want to go over the name of the podcast, because I think, all of you know what Main Street is. Even people that don't go to the parks know what Main Street is, Main Street USA. And why I decided to call my podcast Right Down Main Street, you may have already figured it out. It's not very hard, but going down Main Street is your introduction to all that is Disney World, in my eyes. Getting off the boat ride or the monorail ride or the bus ride and going up to the gates, that's awesome. I love that. It's a great feeling. But the feeling of being in Disney World doesn't really hit you until you go under those archways, come out, bright and sunny. You see all the statues. You see the characters in the circle. You're looking down Main Street and you see that Cinderella castle in the distance. That's when I get the feeling, yes, I'm here, I'm in Disney World, I'm ready to enjoy myself, have fun, let the little kid out in me, and that's why I decided to call it Right Down Main Street, because that walk down Main Street is just something else, especially the theming of it. It's such a good introduction to what Disney World has to bring. That has the popcorn smell, go get a hot dog at Casey's Corner, as I said earlier. Throw some mac and cheese on there. All right, I'll stop. Look at the merchandise in the Emporium, even in just the windows of the Emporium. Grab a coffee at Starbucks. Everything is there to get your day started and to get you ready for all this magic that's about to happen at Disney World. So that's why I decided to call it Ride Down Main Street. I want you guys to walk down Main Street with me, enjoy some memories, relive some memories, and, just think about this happy place in right now, a situation that we all wish could be better. And yes, that's what I hope to bring to you guys. I hope you stick with me. Like I said, I already recorded my second episode, so be on the lookout for that. I'm still editing it a little bit. But yeah, I appreciate you guys listening, and I will see you real soon.